All right, mic should be in, but all right. Just give it a couple minutes. So I'll let some people join in. I'll let this start in 2 minutes. I'll drop links to the economy calendar and all that good stuff as well. So this is to the calendar. So you don't have to use the weekly watch list. If you want to go straight to the source, you can go straight to here if you want. It's just a website. Do this for free. You don't have to be subscribed or anything. But this shows you all the different people talking each week. Fed meetings, OPEC meetings, everything. Anything related to the Fed or the markets or anything yield or just overall related to inflation. They have barrel counts, everything here. So very, very important info to look at each week. I would definitely take Sundays to look at that. And the weekly watch list is not out yet, but overall that will be posted soon. So make sure to look out for that. But I'm going to go ahead and start. Let people join in as they see fit. But so far here, I just wanted to start off with the weekly on both the Qs and SPY. This is tech. This is your overall market here, SPY. And basically what you're seeing is we have been selling off. We had one high, we had a second lower high here, and now we've put in a new low of recent price action. I'm not saying new low as in we've never been here before. New low when most people are saying it from recent price action. So you can see from the recent lows, me to the bone at least, you can see we have fallen hard under that with very, very good volume accumulation. You can see volume over and over. Yeah, weekly looks very whack. Very, very whack. So we're going to go over that though. But I just wanted to show everybody that because I thought that was pretty interesting. It's not too many people who back it out and show you like, yo, look, this is where we're at. Because it's even harder on the monthly. You go out to the monthly and we're like, okay, wow, like we're way up here. And again, this isn't to scare you or anything, to give you a mayday or anything, but it's just to show you there is some downside risk. There's definitely some downside value in the market. You can see we're accumulating with pretty good volume. Again, not week to week did we show continuation, but we have shown drop-based drop. So overall, if the next consolidation area breaks, you are definitely going to see the next areas tested. What I'm saying is mainly just these two areas is kind of what I'm looking at. You have your highs, where we broke out from, continuations. You can see there's another slowdown here, and you can see we have a lot of room down to those levels there. Let's back it out. Let's go to the single chart, and we'll start over. We're going to go to SPY. We're going to Qs. We're going to do everything. So let's clear it. And welcome if you guys are in here. Please drop a like on the stream if you can. It helps out a lot. And overall, again, you know, why I started off with that time frame is just to show you, you know, it's a lot easier just to back out and kind of remind yourself, where are we? You know, it's very frustrating when you're zoomed in on the 5-minute or on the 10-minute or the 30-minute or a smaller time frame all the time. You know, even on the daily, it kind of tunnel visions you a little bit. You know, you're focused on just this. You know, in reality, remind yourself, where are we? You know, so definitely a lot of room to the downside for the market based on where we are. With all the fear in the market as well, definitely showing some downside. But again, we're not here to talk about where the market's going. We're just here to point out the facts, the levels. So big thing I like to start with is just the daily, the 4-hour. So I'm going to just go ahead and go through my system. And I have a list of tickers right here that I'm going to go through as well. We're going to go through SPY, QQQ, Apple, NVIDIA, Palantir, Netflix, Vail, and BABA. So a good wide variety of tickers there. And we'll possibly do some requests at the end. We'll see how much time we have or what we're looking at or how the stream's gone. But let's start with SPY again, of course. So first thing I like to start off with is the recent lows. You know, screw the far left of the chart at first. I just want to see where are we from the recent lows. You know, recently and from last week's stream over into this week's stream. Last couple streams, really, we've talked about the market and where we are in positioning wise. So we've been marking this kind of area here, just kind of grabbing that low, grabbing that recent high, and just grabbing this fib just to kind of give us a range here. And you can see we have broken through the support of that entire move up. So we've basically back to square one and we've moved lower. So what I'm more concerned with for lows is, are we going to keep holding this low right here? If we can maintain this as resistance, yes, we are definitely heading lower. So this needs to be the one key area you're looking at this week, the recent support. Now we're going to start with the rest of the levels. We're going to go over here. So let me extend these over to the left so I can see where I am. I'm just going to zoom in. I'm going to mark emerging candles and mark the highs. So you can see there's a pretty good amount of support there. A little bit of support here before we end up bouncing. And I'm going to mark this right here. and 411.50. So pretty good amount of levels underneath. And then above, because you don't want to just plan for one. Let's say bulls step in. You know, it's not a complete bear market. Bulls step in, some catalyst comes out, whatever the reason is. We need to be ready for both sides. So I'm going to go ahead and mark this emerging candle. We're going to keep going a little bit. Just a little bit more. I don't want to get a million levels above and a million levels below. I just want to get a few around it so I can be ready for the week ahead. If I need to back it out and get more levels during the week, I'll definitely do that. I think that's pretty good. Yeah, we'll start with that. So auto zoom back out, and you can see I have just a bunch of just levels. It's very funky, very hard to read. But remember, what we're looking at here is not to help us in the 4 hours, to help us on the smaller time frames when we're here day trading. So tomorrow, this is why I always use the pan tool, just kind of remind myself. It's not as funky as it seems. Tomorrow when we're trading, I will be ready no matter where price starts tomorrow. Price could start in here. Price could start down here. It doesn't matter. So I'll be prepared regardless of the direction. So in the morning tomorrow, you'll see these same levels on my chart. I'll probably adjust them a little bit. But tomorrow in the morning, you'll see me cover this, and you'll see me add this to the list, covering the SPY level. So if we don't have it on the daily watch list, we'll at least go over it in the stream. So make sure to be here, or at least review tomorrow's stream when you get the chance. But that's what we're going to be looking at for SPY. A few levels there. Let's start over on Qs as well. And this is just to give us kind of a good just view of levels to look at going across the week. And you can see we're about 314, so I'm going to start down here. Whoops. Oh, almost drew a trend line. So we got one at 313, 314 area. 315, way up there at 320, so it's probably going to be a support that price fell back down to, and you can see it's about this area before it tried to bounce again. So we're going to mark about the high of that, where it rejected. Let me back out because there's a few levels I'm missing below. Yeah, let's start down here. And you can see every level I'm marking is the top of the day. It's going to be the meat of the bone. I don't really care about the high as much. I'm mainly concerned with the meat of the bone. You see, it gives me a pretty good wide variety of levels underneath current price as well. Zoom on over. 309, 311, and then that's it for this right here. So that gives me a pretty good amount of levels to the downside. Let's do a couple to the upside. Pretty good amount there. And again, like I said on the SPY chart, it's going to be very messy when you're looking at this. But again, it's supposed to be. When you're on the 5 minute, you're gonna be enjoying yourself a lot. You're gonna be very happy that you have this amount of levels here, because even if you just view the price action I have here now, you can see they utilize my levels. The inverse head and shoulders here at support. It ends up hitting through the targets. Even the after hours pushes up, rejects not just the pre-market high, but 326.50 from God knows when. You can ask me when. I'll back it out and I'll be able to tell you exactly when. 323. 60s or whatever it was right here, 323.85. This is from January 20, 2021. I can tell you exactly when and where I'm grabbing it and exactly why, because this system works. It's consistent. It doesn't matter if I'm on a Bitcoin chart, if I'm on Forex, whatever I'm looking at. A chart is a chart, and if I'm marking the top of a buyer, that's going to be a very useful level in the future. So that's why we always go to that. So like I said on the SPY chart, regardless of SPY or Qs, pushing up and starting here, or starting down here, or starting here, or starting here, it doesn't matter, because I will be ready. So I'm trying to get it so you can see it better. But you can see, regardless of where it starts, it doesn't matter. I'm going to be able to have a plan to the up and the downside at all times, while also utilizing the BB system. So let's say I didn't prepare last night. You know, none of my levels are looking good. I don't know what to mark. You're still going to have all of your BB system to mark. Previous day low, previous day high, marking your pre-market high, pre-market low, wherever that is. Again, please mark your previous day closes and opens as well. If they're pretty close, like you can see here, you don't have to, so it doesn't mess with your chart, but leave the outer level open. So let's say price starts here tomorrow. I don't need to mark the previous day close, but I need to at least have the low because it's the outer level. Vice versa. Let's say price jumps up and it's up here, right? Previous day open is right here. Previous day high is right here. So would you play calls above open and just target, whatever resistance that's up here? No, you would enter calls here with an intention to scalp towards this level, or you would wait for this to break up and break out of 327, or the best method is wait for either of these levels to break out and for sellers to come back down with low volume, showing weakness on top of a support, so buyers have a chance to continue higher. So if you want to enter on bounces, if you want to enter on open range breakouts, it doesn't matter. So either way, you have a plan. So, we'll go over that chart again tomorrow morning in the stream, so make sure to be here if you have the chance. But let's get into some tickers that we wanted to get out. So Apple. My bad, I was reading my list. And yeah, every time I use that stupid pan tool, I have to adjust my zoom settings. So back out, just kind of remind yourself what we're looking at. Again, it does help. And you saw earlier, I started on the SPYs and the Q on the monthly, the weekly. We're just looking at a bunch of bigger time frames. That's kind of what I'm doing when I'm marking these levels. I'm just kind of looking at where's current price, where is a strong level under, where is a strong level above, and then I can start messing with whatever range, right? So it just kind of gives you a good placement starter. But let's jump to the 4 hour. I just kind of like to jump straight to it and get going. But you can see price is up there in the 150s up here. So we're just going to start a little bit lower than that and get going. So I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to get this hill over here. See 137, very, very strong level. Zoom in again. Go to that second hill that we saw on the right side of that. If you want to adjust it to match that, you can. I'm just going to leave it as is. I'm going to mark that 139.40. I'm going to mark that 143.60. And I'm going to mark this as well. And it might be a little clustered, but overall in the future, I know that this is an area of heavy resistance whenever I look at it again to the far right. So again, zoom back out. You can see we got everything in this general vicinity. So now we need to work our way up. So let's get above all of that. Where am I at? Right here. So again, if you want to pull up the level and make it match this, you can. If you want to add a third level there and kind of cluster it a little bit, you can. Either way, it's up to you. I normally just kind of skip it sometimes and just kind of move on to the next one, so I give myself a little bit of room. I know that there's a level in there, but overall, you already got the kind of bulk of the idea there. Gonna mark that 147.20, the meat of the bone on that 149.30. Zoom back out. Again, I'm just zooming back out a bunch so I can click on the right spot. So I'm not dipping into one of these dips that's into the range. I'm kind of going back out and I'm clicking on something that newly formed a breakout. So no, this level would not be as strong as 149.27 because this is the level we initially stopped at. This is what this run is working towards. So this is the important level. So I'm going to leave it there. So that's why I mark emerging candles. Emerging candles are very, very important. You can see we're getting a little closer to price now. I didn't need to start as low as I did, but I just wanted to give a really good example. Apple is always a really, really good one to just kind of view because it really does pull off really, really good moves from these levels, and it's above that right shoulder still, so it's not super hard to grab a lot of the levels. And you can see we got a bulk of them there. We need to mark a couple above now. So yeah, you can see I started way, way too low on Apple's price. I did not need to do what I just did. But overall, it's giving me a good effective start. Just kind of give you guys a great example of what to look for. Marking that one, marking that one, marking that one. And I don't need to go any farther. We're at 175. That's damn near the entire Apple chart. So we'll leave it as is. And I always jump down to the 5 minute just to kind of view everything from this point of view. And earlier I charted it on my own, just kind of get warmed up for it, at least for the stream. But overall, it looks like I ended up with the same levels I had earlier. A bunch of clustered levels down here of support, just like we saw on SPY, just like we saw on the Qs. There was a bunch of just clustered amount of levels already kind of sitting there. So you could see the market kind of making sense, having a cluster of supports in the same area. That makes sense. I mean, Apple is the heaviest thing on the market, is the heaviest weight on the market. So of course it's going to have kind of the same similar look to it as SPY or the Qs. But overall, regardless, just like I said on the SPYs or the Qs, you can see if we start here, if I start here, if I start here, if I start here, it doesn't matter. I'll be ready to go. So let me remove all that. And yeah, if you want to delete things quicker, you can just go to the arrow tool, click, and then click delete on your keyboard, and it can be a lot quicker. So again, we'll be ready for Apple, and in the morning, I'll be covering these same levels again tomorrow, so if you want to mark these up, I'll leave it just like as is, and in the morning I'll add it to the watch list. Nvidia is the next one I want to do. You can see their earnings are a little bit away, but I do believe, yeah, AMD's earnings are happening this week. So that is one thing to note when you're looking at Nvidia, is that AMD is having earnings. So no, shouldn't affect Nvidia personally, but when everyone's going to be trading AMD and they're moving up or down, regardless of the outcome of the earnings or the reaction to it, I should say, Nvidia will definitely go alongside them. So definitely pay attention to that when you can. Let me get back into this. So auto zoom back out again. Just kind of remind yourself, what are we looking at? Nvidia is one of my favorite companies to trade. They're a beast of a company overall, but their options chain is super liquid, so you never really have a problem of getting in or out of a trade. Don't want to be in an options chain that's not liquid, where not a lot of people are looking, not a lot of eyes are at, because then you're going to get into a good trade, and either the spreads are going to be funky, or you're not even going to be able to get out of it. So definitely make sure you're paying attention to what you're trading. But let's jump to the 4 hour. Just jump to my cheat method, go straight to charting. And you can see price is way up here. So if you look over here at this left side, you can see there's a hill here and a hill here. So I'm going to kind of focus on those first. Let's get this one, 153. And yeah, I'm saying hill, they're levels of resistance. I'm saying hill, just kind of give you an easier analogy, but that is kind of what we're just looking for. Levels of heavy resistance over here. And let's just work our way up like we did on Apple. Again, we kind of got the beginning of our method going. Also, a cool thing to note, while I was marking that level there, you can see I ended up marking it just as resistance, and then the same thing here. Look where price ended up kind of dipping down to. It ended up dipping down to another emerging candle, holding, and then pushing through before the next big Hulk candle. It pushed it through that resistance. So the levels are insanely effective. Again, it really is. It really does just take reviewing them left to right over and over and over, and that's what we say when we mean go through the routine. We're saying go through the tickers, do this charting system, look at the price action, view it. How could you have taken a trade on that? Another really cool thing. So you see how this is one that we marked, then we marked this one right afterwards. You can see there is one of in the range. We don't need to mark it. Of course, if you see the range is kind of big, you can do one of two methods. Find a level that's effective like that because there's a good emerging candle close there, or you can grab the middle of the range. And either way, it looks like we're getting about the same vicinity. But check out to the right, if I can keep my hand steady enough. Look over to the right, though. Look, our price ended up holding off of those two areas. That's where it decided to hold and fight. Now, regardless of them holding here and pushing higher, if bears would have stepped in, this is where they would have done it from. They would have had to have pushed lower, retested, and then pushed lower again to show that bears are definitely in control of that area. And that's what you saw bulls do here. They pushed up. They showed that they wanted to hold here by letting the weakness hold on a support, and then they bought it back up again. So just kind of cool to look at. You don't always need to do that, but that's how you need to view it, though. Tell the story of the chart to yourself. Seriously, it helps a lot. So I'm going to keep marking. I don't like that one. Auto zoom back out. I'll just grab a couple more above. I can see that we're well above current price, but I just want to get it done because NVIDIA likes to move a lot. So if we're going to be bullish this week, I want to make sure I have everything ready. All right, we'll leave it like that. So, and you can see I have two bigger areas here. If you ever need to, you can do one of two methods, and it's just like I showed you in the other area there when I was more zoomed in. You can grab that fib, grab another halfway point, or you can find another good effective level in there, depending where it's at, of course, is going to be if it's effective or not. Let's go to the 5 minute. Just going to use the pan tool, just kind of show us all a little easier. And again, you can see I am missing a couple areas. You can see between 180, 187, 191, and 200. What can I do to do that? I can always back out, go see again what I'm missing. The 30 minutes also super helpful. So you can see there's nothing super easy to spot here. See the 30 minute, we do have a level at about 183 that we kind of set on top before pushing higher with a higher low. So pretty cool note there. And then you can see the other big zone I got here. I have a really good, one, you have the sell-off. It kind of sits here, finds support, and then it pushes up, and it finds a very good, strong resistance during that day that we've hit multiple times. So I'm just going to leave that level there. And if I really wanted to find more levels, you could always, of course, find the halfway point and just add that. You also have the recent price action. So you can see there's a lot of steps on some of these charts. Apple, it was pretty easy. It was just kind of one and done. You can see NVIDIA, there's a couple bigger zones, also a couple levels from recent price action that we need to mark. But you can see we're pretty much done with NVIDIA. Again, NVIDIA could start up here, NVIDIA could start here, NVIDIA could start here, and it wouldn't matter. I have a plan for above, below, all that great stuff. And again, it looks clustered. It does. But when you're zoomed in, I know I'm not doing this justice. If you zoom in, though, this is what we're looking for. You know, you can see price broke out. Let me zoom over. And it broke the pre-market high, had a little bit of continuation, ended up pushing up to that next level, hitting as resistance. And then what happened after that? Price came back down. Also, note the volume. Don't just say what I just did. Had rising volume as it pushed through that level. It's a good accumulation sign that sellers or that buyers want to take this higher. What did they have during this moment here? Lowering volume. Buyer volume broke out to say, hey, we're still here. We're definitely still present. They need to break over that common resistance after open. That's exactly where they pushed up from with that rising volume. So let's extend that to the right, just to remind ourselves where we're at with the big amount of volume, right? Sellers end up coming back under that. Kind of giving a little bit of that doji sandwich. Me and my chat know exactly what this is. It's a long-legged, small body candle. Call it a doji, call it whatever you want. It's indecisive and you need more information. So what do you wait on? The next candle afterwards. What does that next candle do afterwards? It breaks that exact support that we just pointed out the importance on with accumulating volume, showing that sellers definitely want to take that lower. So don't just chart, guys. Review your chart. Review what happened. Seriously, give some effort into what's going on here. What are some very big pivot points to look at? You know, one of them I always talk about in my chat is opening price. Opening price is insanely important. I'll just highlight a little area. So you can see after that big battle, what the next big battle was who can hold opening price. You can see there was a little bit of a rounding bottom showing bulls had potential to take that higher. And they even showed good potential above the 9 EMA with volume. What did they do after that? Sellers step back in, lowering volume, again showing further indecisiveness. I think a lot of us can agree. Last week had a lot of big indecisive price action. Regardless, though, it was still in a bearish zone. Again, after they broke opening price, it doesn't matter if it's lowering or rising. Buyers need to hold on top of that to continue taking price higher up to 196.55. They don't need to drop a couple red candles and then bounce. No. They need to hold that after that rounding, after that. So weakness stepped in, fear. So even though it had lowering volume, what you saw there was just fear step in. It had nothing to do with volume, price action. You just saw a lot of fear take over. Bulls couldn't take it higher, bringing more fear. So on a Friday, especially if the market's in a scary position, of course people are going to be very scared of taking price higher when they don't know if it's going to hold support or not. So pay attention to price action when you see that. If you see a key level break, it doesn't matter if lowering volume is what breaks you. If you see a good break with a good candle under your level, pay attention to it. You have your levels there for a reason. They're very important. Volume is also very important, but please pay attention. The next one, Palantir. Time axis. I gotta fix that again. We're gonna jump over to the 4 hour. And this is one of the ones that you can't do on the 4 hour. You have to start on the daily because the 4 hours price action doesn't cover 360. If you have TradingView, you don't have this issue. But us TOS users, we have this issue. So I'm gonna just kind of zoom on over here. I'm gonna grab the low. I'm gonna grab this recent resistance that was here. So this just kind of covers the bottom of the chart. And now I can zoom in and do the rest. So big resistance here at about 11. Another one at about 11.89. Zoom on over a little more. Got another one there at 13.85. 16. So you can see Palantir is a fairly simple chart when you're just kind of focused on the daily. Couple levels here kind of mismatched. And this should give me about the majority of the chart. We can zoom on over to the far right again. And you can see drop, base, drop, base. They end up making instead of making a lower low like they did here under this low right here, they ended up making a higher low. So they broke that. You can see this one here is trying to build off of that low. So very important to note. So big key levels here at 990 and about 11 area. So definitely keep those marked if you're looking at Palantir this week. Let me remove this junk so we can zoom in and focus on the important stuff. So let's go to the 4 hour. Again, we're just kind of focused on the last about month, 2 months of price action here, and you can see big low from that 990 way over there. I'm going to also mark this one here because we've never actually been here besides during those IPO prices. So I'm going to be very heavily involved with this level here at 1028 more than that 990 just because it's from recent price action and there's an established low here with volume. Again, at those very early prices you saw me mark, it was low volume. It was closer to IPO pricing. So, of course, it's not going to be as trusty as this recent price action here that has all that volume. So I'm kind of starting from here as my basis point. Who wants to try and answer this one? If we were to break 9, what would be a good target? What kind of targets do we call those? Well, I'm trying to draw this amazingly artistic arrow. What is a good level under this 9 level that we can target? And what do we call those kinds of targets? Psychological targets. If 9 was to break, yes, 8 would be a great target. 750 would be a great target because they're whole numbers. The strongest whole numbers are, of course, going to be your zeros, your fives. But on a stock like this who's in single digits, you can target every dollar, every 50 cents. It's going to be very, very, very effective. So if you do see those new lows made, don't freak out. You have those levels to mark. But let's see here on PLTR. You can see I got a lot of that marked. I'm kind of just focused on recent price action. Whoops. And there we go. I'm all done for Palantir now. So starting tomorrow, and again, I'll go down there. I'll add my recent price action levels that I don't have. You can see I have a few of them a little bit off. But regardless, now I know above whatever levels, wherever we start, let's say we start here, we start here, we start down here, I'm ready. Palantir is ready to go. So that's the big thing about this system. Another cool thing too, if you back it up to the 5-day, 5-minute, you can actually get a little bit better of a picture. I just do the 2-day 5-minute to give me a better picture for streaming. But overall, if you want to view this more, it is super helpful to just kind of see the past 5 days. The past 5 days is always going to be super, super heavily relied on price. Even the biggest hedge funds and their algos, they will use the last 5 days of price action to at least give some statistical effect to how they trade. So definitely keep that in mind when you're looking at stuff. Recent price action is very, very important. But Palantir is ready to go. Apple, Nvidia, PLTR. All right, so let's go to the next one. Netflix. We're going to go through Netflix, Vail, and BA, and then I think I'll call it. So you can see Netflix falling off a cliff. I wanted to do this one because it was going to be a challenge. A lot of people are going to have issues drawing on this one. So yeah, of course, recent price action is going to be super helpful, but what about when it breaks new lows? Yes, you can keep saying psychological is going to help, but you got to remember there are definitely levels here that have volume. Netflix has been a very popular company for a very long time, so they are going to have volume sitting at these levels. So let's start with some from way back here. So I'm grabbing 131, and this is from December 4th, 2015. So pretty good long time ago. Let's keep going. So I don't need to keep going that low. You can see I'm very far from current price. Let's grab this high here. We'll grab this one. We'll grab this one. You can see now we're getting a little bit closer to price. Now I can start focusing on stuff. And you can see this is kind of just the base example of what I'm looking for. When you're marking an emerging candle, you're looking for a very good stopping point is basically what you're looking at. So regardless of it being the top or being down here where it was one of these in the middle of a range emerging candles, it doesn't matter. This level, the emerging candle levels are always going to be very effective because they're a stopping point. So if you ever see price go above it in the future and it sits on it again, then you know that bulls are definitely trying to hold that for the long-term future. Vice versa. If you see bears drop under it, reach back up to it and not get it again, and they end up holding under it, as resistance, then you can see bears are in definite control of it, right? So it's just kind of cool to see. Very instantaneously, you can see right after they had that resistance, they built that lower low, they had earnings, whatever earnings made it pop up, and then ended up resetting and kind of simmering down. Really, this is just a lot of just breathing price action here. Just we're tired, getting a Gatorade type move there. And you can see built a Harami at support, a lot of smaller candles, and they end up holding at that 165.70. So just kind of cool to just see the price action sit like that. But let's focus on that range because that seems to be where all the price action is. And yeah, sorry for my continuous zooming in. I just like to make sure I'm kind of eyeing where I need to be. And it helps to go left to right. Definitely helps a lot. Got another one there I could mark. I'm just going to leave it alone. 195, 198. Evening Star at 203. You can see that covers me for a bit. Let's grab a couple more above, and then we'll go to the far right, and we'll see what can we do with recent price action. Auto zoom. You can see cluster, very hard to read. This literally tells us nothing. But again, that's not what it's for. It's for the 5 minute. You can see it opens up. It's a lot more clear. Very easy to read. So you can see just how effective it was just over the past couple days. And I'm grabbing levels from 2015, 2016. So it just goes to show just how effective price history just can truly be. Price history is the most important thing. So another big thing here. Again, what are your BB system levels? You can see my previous day high. I got my previous day low, which is also lining up as my close. I got my previous day open. And that's it. That's all I need. Those three. And then tomorrow morning when we have our pre-market pop up, I'll end up adding those together. But you can see all of these are pretty much near those effective levels. So I don't need to add anything from the smaller time frames. It looks like everything is here. If anything, I just need to wait for tomorrow's pre-market to see where's my initial range going to start. So again, if it starts here, I'll have a plan for the up and the downside. If it starts here, I have a plan for the up and the downside. And again, here, so on and so on. Let's go to Veil. And why I did Netflix again, just to remind everyone, is I wanted to do Netflix because it was a very hard one. Again, Netflix is sold off very heavily, and it's near very, very old levels. You can see I went back to 2015, 2016 just to get levels around it, using that method, of course, but very effective. So Veil, this is one I've continuously had a lot of fun on. Me and Leland in chat have been trading this a lot. It's had good breakups, it's had good breakdowns, but it gives us a lot of really good patterns, so I wanted to cover this one. So for this one, I'm not going to be going from the far left. I am going to be coming from the recent price action. You can see we kind of had an inverse head and shoulders, and then price action just continuously going. The reason I'm doing that for this chart is that after catalyst of market pushing into companies like Veil during COVID, inflation, all that good stuff, I want to cover the bullish price action, you know, where the volume truly came in for this company. So I'm going to be focused on this range here on the 4 hour. So let me get just a smaller range going first. So I'm kind of focused between here and here. So we'll just start. Get everything in between that. Can you check Amazon too? I think Amazon could be pretty high probability swing to the downside. Yeah, we could check it out. I don't know if I'll do the entire TA routine on it, depending on how much time I have left, because I do have something I need to attend to. But after that, yeah, we could definitely check it out. I'm going to just do Veil and then Baba, and then we'll look at Amazon. We'll see what's up with that. I like Amazon a lot because it's really fun to really go over the XLY sector, discretionary. Nike, Home Depot, Amazon, Tesla. It's just really cool to look at those four because, yes, they're all in the XLY in the same sector, but they're all different companies at the same time. Nike, Home Depot, Tesla, Amazon, none of those companies do anything close to what each other do. But that's the coolest part about that sector. Oh, you posted it in post charts? All right, let me see then. I'll finish Veil and Baba right after. Oh, yeah, you did. You posted American Airlines. Got a nice clean head and shoulders here. Oh, nice. Got the little flag coming out on American. And then on Amazon, he said small 1 hour Morningstar reversal in the 1 hour. No extended hours. Again, so he's saying without extended hours on, there's a Morningstar here. And there is. You do kind of have the same support and decisive candle here. And you kind of have a sandwich. So, again, you can see they're kind of picking up with buyers. So if they can break over this recent high, they're definitely looking good to at least go bump their head on this level. Look for rejection of 2550 or 2600. So it looks like that's what he's looking for. He's looking for 2500, possibly even the top of this range as a secondary target to be hit as resistance. And vice versa. Whatever, if it doesn't happen, guess what you can look at for a break of support? The recent lows that the Morningstar is creating. So very, very clean chart by Leland there. And again, just showing you don't have to type out 3 paragraphs to make a clean, just simple plan. So very, very nice. And again, using patterns to his effect. You know, he's not really having to break out the TA routine like you're seeing me do. He can just instantly go to recent price action, grab from a pattern, and he can cover everything in between. So now he knows what to look for. Very good job, man. Very nice. Looking for high probability information. We'll continue onwards. And yeah, definitely, if you guys are in the server, definitely check out that post charts channel. My friends like Leland, Ripcord, Devo, they post tons of charts in there. And of course, me, JBig, we post in our channels. But that channel's for the members and anybody involved in chat. But yeah, let's get back into the Veil chart. So you can see here, while I was just blindly clicking through my levels, I will have to probably add that previous day high tomorrow. We'll probably add this close. And that looks like it's it. I don't need to add anything. So regardless, if this starts here, here, up here, down here, I'll be ready to go to add Veil to the watch list, or possibly also just swings. Again, I really like swing trading a lot. You can see after price got bought up again, and this is a really good time to bring this back into effect, right here. So we've shorted Veil, we've longed Veil. I've been doing it kind of back and forth with Leland. You can see here, we shorted it before, shorted it again, and you can see there was a buyer reaction opportunity. We posted about this possibly long swing overnight from the 200 EMA. So from there, you can see they did have a buyer reaction. They even gapped up and had a reversal. So this is again a seller reaction. We gapped up, came back down, we're back to square one. So what I would be looking for on Veil, without even having other EMAs on, just based on how I swing, I would be looking for this to continue lower and see if this can try and hold one of these 2 or 3 very, very effective areas that we just grabbed with our TA routine. So if it can hold one of these 3 areas and then build a pattern and then another close over the 9 EMA with rising volume, I would look for a really good long breakout on Veil. If it doesn't and you see a continuation with low rising seller volume, I would look to continue shorting this to these lows. If under these lows, definitely look towards those next levels of support. So really good plan going to either side of that chart. It does start at 6, Sal. I started it an hour early. My apologies for the change, but overall, I just wanted to get it out of the way. I'm also still trying to figure out what the best time is. It seems like the earlier the better, because more people have seemed to have seen this one, even though I didn't alert it. So maybe we'll switch it to 5 o'clock from now on. I don't know. We'll see. I'll do a poll. But let's go through Baba, the last one for the stream. But guys, seriously, go back to the beginning after this finishes, or if you want to now, and review everything we looked at. Today we talked about some economic stuff, you know, from the calendar. I put the link at the top of the chat too, so you can scroll up and see it. We talked about SPY, the cues, what we're looking at, the bigger picture, and then we just kind of going through some tickers. We covered a few, Apple, Nvidia. Talked about a couple things from the server. One more thing too, before I finish Baba off. Please go to the server, and there's two or three things I would 100% have completed before you start trading or paper trading or whatever. You need to get through this channel here first. BB Trading Strategies is insane. If you get through this, good on you. But overall, you need to not just look at it and read it. You need to go through it and apply it on your own charts. Seriously. Some of them have live trade examples. Some of them have videos, as you saw above. Some just have charts with really big breakdowns. But they all have a really, really good amount of information. These are pretty much all of the types of entry that we look for. So that should have almost everything you need. We go down to keys. Definitely check out these recent PDFs. I would check out the whole channel, but overall, start with these PDFs first, these recent 6 PDFs. These are all really, really good for just how we like to look for trades. Again, just another good example like BB Trading Strategies. We're just looking for good, clear visuals and examples of everything we're trying to trade. Workshop classes. Me, JBake, have put out, I think JBake has 1 or 2 on here. Doesn't matter. There's 8 on here that you guys definitely need to go through. There's a ton of information on each one, and we put a ton of effort into each one. You see Harlan did one, Tinman did one. You can see there's the swing account challenge we did in chat. Here's JBake's volume and trading. And this was a very, very awesome one. Very, very early video in JBake's video creation world. But overall, really, really good video. The examples in there are insane. And even if you don't want to watch the video, he also did it in a text format. So if you want to read over this as well, start in here. But you can see we have a ton of information, and all of this is in a lot of this is in the course as well. So if you have the course, if you have the other information from YouTube, awesome. But let's finish off the BABA chart. And yeah, guys, leave a like on the stream if you can. It helps out a lot. As you can see, BABA, recent price action, just kind of sitting here. So with Chinese stocks, it's very hard to kind of say where they're going to go in the future because a lot of it is 100% affected by the people in power in China. There's about 12 people in power in China, and the entire board of them are fighting to keep that power. By doing that, they have to keep their thumb on the private sector. So that's why you've been seeing a lot of bleeding on them. But overall, you can grab levels of history and you'll get a pretty good run on it. I'm actually just going to grab from the recent price action like you saw me do on Veil. So I'm just going to start with the 4 hour. I'm going to jump on down to the recent price action. And you can see we have a low here at about, 77.50s where we actually kind of hit a low and closed. So that's what I'm more importantly kind of just concerned with. And then also recent lows. The very, very most recent low here at 83.25. So I'm going to view this kind of area as a big area as support. So as long as this holds, should be good for BABA's near-term future. And then I'm going to do the same things for the top side. You can see a recent resistance right here at 120s. Emerging candle at 105. Another emerging candle at 110. Another emerging candle at 116. And you already kind of have a really, really big plan without actually adding a whole lot. You can see prices built up. They've simmered back down. They've made that higher low, and they've gone back up. They've hit another very big common resistance. So what are they going to try and do now? Just off of basic common sense thinking, what should price be doing now after this? They should continue simmering down, not just to fill this gap, just to give themselves a breather before they can try, even attempt to try and rally again. They would need to take that breather. So one day is not enough. I would definitely look for one more day of slowing down on BABA, possibly to go fill this gap. I wouldn't 100% bet that that's what it's going to fill, but I would definitely mark that at least. Definitely mark that recent resistance. And there you go. You kind of already have a really big plan on BABA without actually having to do a whole lot. So tomorrow we'll be adding that previous day low, previous day high, and wherever pre-market is, I'll be focusing on that. So if it's down here, awesome. Even better, really. But overall, wherever it starts, we're going to have a plan. So you can see how in the bigger time frame, just kind of giving yourself that common sense thinking, what's going to happen next type talk to yourself. I know it sounds crazy, but it really does help you visualize what the next move may be. So you still need a plan for both up and downside, but it kind of helps you trying to plan ahead, trying to visualize ahead, not to cheat it or to try and make up what's going to happen, but it really does help you in the future. To try and give yourself that, I don't know, that forward thinking muscle memory, I guess is what I'm looking for. But it really does help. So definitely go through that a lot. And you can see on all my examples, I can go and tell you exactly where is my level, why do I have it marked, why is it important, and how is it going to help me tomorrow. So tomorrow's pre-market stream, be here. In the morning, it'll be very important to see us grab these same levels and form a plan around them. Again, just using these levels to help us. All the hard work was done right now. Me preparing. Remember, when you're trading, an entry is only, like a quick second, right? But everything up to that point, you've prepared for many, many, many moments, hours, minutes, however you want to look at it, but you've prepared for. So all of your confidence should be in what you prepared, not that 1 second that it took you to enter, right? So don't get so shaky in your trade. And again, start off with paper trading. Start off with just viewing price action, just visualizing. Don't jump into trading real money instantly. And I can tell you from personal experience, it's definitely painful to lose money and not know why. So definitely go into this with a learning mindset, and it'll definitely be a lot easier on you. But I hope to see you guys in tomorrow's stream. Please, again, go back and review if you didn't catch everything in this, but a lot of really good info in this stream. So thank you guys for being here. And again, leave a like on the stream. It helps out a lot, but I'll see you guys in tomorrow's stream.